Alright, this is page 156, problem 23. The problem is, given that tangent of theta is negative 15 over 8 and sine of theta is greater than 0, find all the 6 trig functions below. Alright, well the first thing we want to do in this problem is draw the angle. However, we know that if the tangent of theta is negative 15 over 8, there's two possibilities. So we have to figure out exactly which one it is. Well, where is the tangent negative? Well, the tangent's positive in these quadrants, quadrants 1 and 3, so it must be negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. Alright, so the next piece of information is that the sine is positive. Well, where is sine positive? Well, sine's positive here, and sine is positive here. Alright, so we know the quadrant. Our angle is in quadrant number 2. Now let's go ahead and draw this angle. And remember, we want to try and draw it to scale. So tangent means opposite over adjacent. Well, the opposite side is 15 and the adjacent side is only 8. So I'm going to go ahead and go out. We'll call this 8 here. And if that's 8, well, 15 must be way up here. So we'll call this 8 and 15. And a couple things to note here. We have a right angle. This 8 is the negative. 15 is positive, and the hypotenuse is 17 because it's a Pythagorean triple. And the angle that we're interested in is this angle right here. And again, if you draw it to scale, you'll have a better chance of finding mistakes. This is obviously an angle that's more than 90, but less than 180. And inside quadrant 2, it looks like it's more to 90 than 180 to me. All right, so let's set about finding that angle. First we'll find the trig functions. What are the trig functions here? Well, sine, I'm going to go ahead and write these over here to the side. Opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse, opposite over adjacent. And the reciprocals over here, everything's simply flipped around. All right, so sine. What is the sine? Sine, well, I didn't label them up here. Let's go ahead and do that too. We have an opposite side out here. We have an adjacent side right here. We have a hypotenuse here. All right, sine, opposite, hypotenuse, 15, 17. Cosine, adjacent, opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse, 8 17ths. Tangent, opposite, adjacent. Hey, that's the one we already have. That's from our problem up here, so we could have put that down there immediately. Now let's do the reciprocals. 17 15ths, negative 17 eighths, negative 8 15ths. We're done with our trig functions, and that's what the problem asks us to do. Just for fun, let's go ahead and figure out what this angle is. We know it's past 90, so you can start with any trig function. I'm just going to do sine of inverse sine here, and we'll do a 15 17ths. And go ahead and do this on your calculator. Make sure your calculator's in degrees. Hit the inverse sine function and put in 15 over 17, close the parentheses, and we come up with an angle of about 61.93 degrees. Well, obviously that can't be right. So what is that telling us? Well, that's telling us the reference angle. That's telling us that this right here is 61.93. I don't want that. I want this angle. So wouldn't that be 180 minus that? So 180 minus 61.93 degrees. Let's see here. 180 minus 61.93 degrees comes out to be 118.07 degrees. And we want to ask ourselves, is that reasonable? Well, since we drew our triangle to scale, it's fairly reasonable. And does this look like a 118 degree angle? It does to me. All right, I hope this helps.